Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning into another Supatease video, and Blizzard has just dispensed out more class tuning adjustments for patch 12.1, and it is in this patch that they are once again trying to achieve a major goal of redistributing damage from cooldowns into your baseline class for the benefit of both Mythic Plus and PvP, so that you're feeling like you're actually useful outside of your cooldown window and not having to plan strictly everything as far as your capabilities of success in only that cooldown window, which is something I'm looking greatly forward to. So in this update, we have more classes. Frost Death Knight, first up here, has gotten a lot of attention. And it's one that is very cooldown dependent in its baseline, so I'm curious to see how this one went. We are increasing the strength of several rotational abilities that's falling in line with what they wanted to do that were underperforming in the overall breakdown. Additionally, we're improving Frost Death Knight's consistent damage outside of cooldown windows. Obliteration gameplay and tuning during Pillar of Frost remain strong, allowing us to redistribute some power into the rest of the kit. So Pillar of the Frost is only going to give you 20% strength down from 30, but not in PvP. Interesting. So they're okay, but they're also not buffing Howling Blast in PvP by 100%. Why would you not want to do this in PvP? Frost Death Knight is like one of the most egregious specs in PvP for doing burst damage in Pillar of Frost window and not doing damage outside of it. Why would you counteract these in PvP? Empowered Rune Weapon damage is getting increased by 30%. These all don't apply in PvP. Literally none of this in PvP. Glacial Advance is getting a 30% buff. Icy Death Torrent damage is getting 100% buff. Frost Fever is getting 100% buff. I mean, these buffs seem like they would be really good for PvP, and then nerf their cooldowns. Remorseless Winter is getting a 100% increase, but not in PvP. Frost Scythe damage is getting a 20% increase, but not in PvP. Frost Strike damage is getting a 25% increase, but not Frost Bane, but not in PvP. Obliterate got a 25% damage reduction. Isn't that just your builder in your rotation? Breath of Cindergosa got a 20% damage reduction, but not in PvP. Frostbane got a 30% damage reduction, but not in PvP. Frostworm's Fury got a 20% nerf, but not in PvP. And Permafrost will grant a shield equal to 35% of your health, or the damage dealt, up from 30, but not in PvP. Is this like a typo and they just like... There's no way, right? Because Frost DK in PvP, I mean in PvE as well, but in PvP it's very cooldown dependent. That seems really strange to not apply any of that. Deathbringer, Wither Away now causes Frost Fever to deal its damage 75% faster, down from 100%, but not in PvP. Literally none of this is going for you in PvP for Frost DK. What the heck? Deathly Blows now increases Frost Strike damage by 35% up from 15, but not in PvP. Reaper's Mark cast and explosion damage reduced by 25%, but not in PvP. Exterminate damage reduced by 17%, but not in PvP. I'm going to have to make a DK on the PTR because why is that not in PvP? Riders of the Apocalypse, Whitemane's Undeath damage reduced by 30%, but not in PvP. I do suppose some of this is like, you know, they buffed Frost Strike and then buffed it here and then buffed it there. Maybe it would be too much, but like, there's no adjustments for PvP at all there for Frost. Unholy, we are addressing the difficulty that Dread Plague creates for Unholy Death Knights when switching priority targets. In addition, we would like to bring the extended duration of plagues back to a more reasonable range. So Blight Burst now causes Putrefy to extend the duration of plagues by 3 seconds, down from 4.5. Runic Power Spenders now extend the duration of plagues by 1 second, down from 1.5. None of this in PvP matters because your diseases most of the time get dispelled. So Dread Plague now retains its extended duration when applied to a new target while within 40 yards of the Death Knight. So this is almost entirely PvE, right? Because that was all turned off in PvP, and duration of disease is not a huge thing in PvP. For Havoc Demon Hunter, Trail of Ruin is being updated. Damage is now applied immediately rather than as a damage over time effect. So you're going to be more bursty? I thought we were trying to make them not bursty. Serrated Glaive has been updated. Effect is now a buff on the Demon Hunter with a 12-second duration rather than a debuff on enemy targets with 15 seconds. So this is just trying to make it so you can switch targets faster, go pull to pull faster as well. Blind Fury now causes I-Beam to generate 10 to 20 Fury per second, down from 15 to 30, but Fury generation is going to be a bit weaker. Inner Demon has moved and is now a choice node option with Chaos Theory. Previously was Chaotic Transformation. I have not played any Havoc to know how big of a deal that is, so if you're a Havoc Demon Hunter, and that sounds absolutely major, because I do think Inner Demon, isn't it the I-Beam laser? So that, like, it activates a meta. I thought that's what that is. means it's going to compete with chaos. Like, you kind of have to take it, I think. So it's going to basically just mean you can't take Chaos Theory now. For Sigils of Chains on Vengeance, it's no longer, it's just learned baseline. Roaring Fire is moved to Sigil of Chains old location. Previously, it was a node with Sigil of Silence. Sigil of Silence and Feed the Demon have swapped positions in the talent tree. So a little talent readjustment for Vengeance. For Guardian Druid, Apex talent Wild Guardian's been updated. The bonus Rage has moved from rank 1 to rank 3. Base Chance adjusted to 10%. Spirit Rage regeneration increased to 8. Rank 3 grants 1 guaranteed spirit, increases thrash and mangle damage while spirit is active. So they're trying to like the Apex talent Guardian was such a huge contributing damage portion on your profile. They're trying to rework it completely to not be that big of a deal, I think. For Evoker, Panacea healing is getting increased by 25%. For Augmentation, they're buffing Defy Fate by 25%, Molten Blood. These healing buffs, they're in line with the fact that they're increasing everyone's baseline stamina, so it's just trying to keep healing abilities basically where they were with the lower stamina with the higher stamina. So same thing with Monk here on Silent Sanctuary getting 25% healing and Expel Harm getting 25% healing. That's kind of just doing some tidying up, nothing major yet. For Protection Paladin, Hammer of Light, Divine Resonance, and Sacrosanct Crusade, Bulwark of Order, Blessed Word, Empyrean Ward, Strength in Adversity, a Seal of Reprisal can now be tracked with the cooldown manager. So little quality of life as far as UI. Retribution Paladin, Radiance of the Concentrated Flame 4-set bonus is being updated. Consuming Divine Purpose with Divine Storm causes your next 2 Templar's Verdicts to unleash Divine Arbiter at its target, dealing holy damage and holy damage within 8 yards. Granting free cast of Templar's Verdict after consuming Divine Purpose impacted the Holy Power economy more than we would like. So you're going to have to use Divine Storm to use your set bonus, though. I think that just means you're probably not going to play it. Although they have changed how set bonuses work, where you can pick the stats and like retain stats on it, so you don't have to go with the stats that they pick, which might be terrible. For Shaman, they're buffing Reactive Warding healing by 25%. For Elemental Shaman, Stormkeeper has been updated and no longer causes Lightning Bolt to generate additional Elemental Overload. Other effects are unchanged. That's a big deal for Elemental. You're not going to get the big pew-pew lightning bolts anymore. Last week was confusing. It said Stormkeeper had been redesigned. The only change currently between Stormkeepers is that it no longer causes lightning bolt to generate additional elemental overload. I mean, it's one of those things where you're going to have to prune all this down, right? The expansion after expansion is just layered on, here's 5% more crit. Now your ability procs another damage hit, and now your ability procs another effect, right? It's just years and years of layering effects on top of each other. And then that's why they're so powerful when you stack them all together with cooldowns. You kind of have to strip back the layers to get the game back to a more simple state if you're ever going to hope to tune the game in a way where cooldowns aren't the only thing that matters. For Enhancement Shaman, they're saying that they're happy with the gameplay. Their goal with these changes is to preserve the gameplay while improving performance outside of cooldown windows where the damage can feel weak. Strong interactions between Wind Fury procs and Maelstrom weapon generation were making it difficult for downtime between cooldowns to breathe. So they're buffing Lightning Bolt by 20%, Chain Lightning by 20%, Lava Lash by 15%, Storm Strike by 15%, melee damage, their auto attacks by 15%, and Doom Winds now increases the chance of Wind Fury weapon activating by 50% down from 100. See, that type of changing, going out of the cooldowns, buff the baseline abilities. That's what I was hoping to see. I was surprised it wasn't that simple for Frosty K, and that they didn't keep any of it in PvP. For hero talents here on the Shaman, they are also nerfing Tempest, 10% reduction in main target, as well as 30% reduction to AoE targets. For Totemic, Surging Totem Tremor damage is being reduced by 15%, and Surging Totem Bolt is being reduced by 10%. So less emphasis on the hero talent abilities as well, more on the core abilities. For Warlock, Drain Life is getting a 25% healing buff, and Zevrim's Resilience is getting 25% healing buff, just in line with the fact that they're increasing stamina. And Warriors as well are getting 25% increase on Ignore Pain. So mostly tidying up. I think pretty significant attention to Enhancement Shaman. The Frosty K one is strange to me because a lot of the changes, they make sense for PvE, but they didn't include any of them in PvP, which comes across a bit strange. They're also changing Earthen and reducing the amount of XP you get for randomly exploring things. Although there's probably going to be way more time walking catch-up mechanics anyway, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So just a little bit of a tidy up day here. Kind of surprised that it came in on a Wednesday, so it makes me wonder if there's going to be more on Thursday or Friday or not. If you want to make sure that you don't miss them, make sure to hit the subscribe button because I will be uploading them here as they happen. So thank you guys very much for tuning into the video, and I will see you in the next one.